Let's be blunt. If you're over 40, still training hard and ignoring sleep and recovery, you're basically driving a Ferrari with flat tires and no oil. Congratulations, you just built the world's most expensive paperweight. You can train like a savage, lift like a beast, run until your shoes disintegrate, but if you don't sleep, your tendons and muscles don't repair. Instead, they just quietly rebel until one day your Achilles tendon goes nope, and suddenly your morning jog ends with you on the ground looking like you sniped by an invisible gunman. So today we're going all in on sleep, tendons, and recovery after 40, because this is the holy trinity that decides whether you stay strong and capable, or whether you slowly become that guy who can't get off the couch without groaning like an 80-year-old. We're going to be breaking down the science of how sleep literally glues your tendons and muscles back together, why recovery is not optional but the secret training block nobody respects, and the strategies you can actually use to maximize recovery, sleep better, and keep training hard after 40 without blowing a tendon like a cheap rubber band. When you were 20, you could go 4 hours of sleep, crush a workout, and still have enough energy to hit Taco Bell at midnight. But now, if you get less than 7 hours, you're walking into a gym with cognitive sharpness of a potato and the hormone profile of a post-menopause hamster. Here's the science. Sleep drives growth hormone release, the stuff that builds muscle tissue and tendon fibers. Growth hormone spikes during your deep sleep, not while you're doom scrolling Instagram at 1 a.m. Cortisol, your stress hormone, goes haywire with poor sleep. More cortisol equals worse recovery, more belly fat, and higher injury risk. Testosterone, which keeps your muscles from wasting away, takes a nosedive if you don't respect sleep. Why does this hit harder after 40? Your baseline growth hormone and testosterone are already trending down with age. Sleep is literally your last-ditch way of maximizing whatever's left. And your connective tissue? Tendons and ligaments are healing slower now, so sleep debt makes this even worse. Bottom line, after 40, sleep is not optional. It's your primary recovery drug. Treat it like creatine, protein, and your training program combined. Now, everyone loves to talk about muscle gains. Bro, how much do you bench? Cool story, but your tendons, the cords anchoring muscle to bone, are the real bottleneck of performance. Muscles adapt fast. Tendons, though, they're slower than the dial-up internet in 1999. Muscles can grow and strengthen in weeks. Tendons and ligaments take months to remodel. Poor sleep slows collagen synthesis, literally the fibers that stitch your tendons back together. Lack of deep sleep reduces the body's ability to produce your type 1 collagen, the scaffolding that keeps your tendons durable. Translation, you'll get stronger faster than your tendons can keep up, until they tear like wet tissue paper. I'll stack on the 40 plus factor. Lower baseline circulation means slower delivery to nutrients to tendons. And then you have age-related stiffening of collagen, which means less elasticity, and recovery gaps then get exposed. Here's an example. Achilles tendon injuries. In runners over 40, they're through the roof. Why? Poor sleep, poor recovery, and trying to train like they're still 25. Tendon health is the long game. If you want to keep training at 50, 60, 70, you better take tendon care a core part of your recovery. Now, as far as recovery goes, it's one of those words that gets butchered by the fitness industry. You picture bubble baths, essential oils, and foam rolling while sipping a kale smoothie. That's not recovery. Real recovery is physiological repair. It's your nervous system recharging, your tissues remodeling, your tendons rebuilding, and the heavy hitters out there are going to be your sleep, that's your number one tool, nutrition, which is going to be your protein, micronutrients, and raw materials for repair, blood flow, movement, you're talking walks, mobility work, these will keep your tissues supplied with the nutrition we just talked about, and then load management. Do not train like a maniac every single day. I know you want to. The big mistake is people treat recovery like a side quest. I'll do it if I have time. Wrong. Recovery is the main quest. Training is the stimulus, but recovery is where adaptation happens. So if you're over 40, your margin of error is much smaller. You skip recovery once, maybe you'll feel fine. You skip recovery for 6 months, and suddenly your elbow tendon feels like it's made of glass. Recovery is work, and if you do not plan it, you're planning to fail. And if you are over 40 and your sleep sucks, no amount of ZMA supplements or fancy blue light glasses are going to fix it until you nail the fundamentals. The best upgrades for sleep are going to be number 1, consistency over perfection. Go to bed and wake up at the same time. Yes, even the weekends. Your circadian rhythm is an internal metronome. Screwed up and you pay your hormones in recovery. Second way, kill the late night light show. Blue light will delay your melatonin production. Stop scrolling your phone in bed like a zombie. So the rule here is try to get your screens off 60 minutes before bed. That's maximum. 30, let's start with 30. Third way, Cool, dark, and quiet. Your body actually sleeps best at 65 to 67 degrees Fahrenheit for most people. So the darkness here will actually lead to a melatonin boost, and reducing their noise will reduce the cortisol spikes. Invest in blackout curtains and earplugs if you can. Heavy meals right before bed tend to lead to an acid reflux party. And alcohol knocks you out but trashes your REM system. So pick your poison, but don't call it recovery. And the fifth and final way is to have a pre-bed routine. Stretch, breathe, journal, anything that signals your nervous system it's time to downshift. Think of it like a warm down for your brain. The result will probably be a consistent 7 to 9 hours of high quality sleep. That's when your GH will spike, your testosterone will stabilize, your cortisol will drop, and tendons will rebuild. So maybe you want some actionable recovery steps, not just sleep more. Here's a recovery protocol. First up, strengthen your tendons. Start with some isometric holds like split squats, calf raises, push-up, holds, and then slow eccentrics of 3 to 5 second lowers. This will stimulate collagen remodeling. And then make sure you have active recovery days. Walk for 20 to 40 minutes. Mobility circuits of hips and shoulders and ankles, and maybe some light band work for blood flow. Include nutrition for your tendons, collagen and vitamin C pre-training. This is gelatin, your bone broth, your supplementation process. And then adequate protein and maybe some anti-inflammatory foods like berries, fatty fish, and turmeric. And then, of course, your load management. Think of 3 weeks progressive overload with 1 week of deload. Avoid your back-to-back high-intensity pounding session and alternate run days with strength or mobility. Recovery days aren't days off. They're tendon reinforcing sessions. Skip them and your body collects interest on the debt with injury as the payment. Now, let's talk ego, because let's face it, most guys over 40 grew up thinking toughness is grind harder, sleep less, train more. That's not grit, that's stupidity dressed up as masculinity. Real grit is respecting recovery. Grit is knowing when to push and when to pull back. Grit is saying not to just one more rep if it risks a tendon tear. And grit is showing up stronger tomorrow, not broken. Think of it like this. Warriors in history did not fight every day. They trained, they recovered, they rebuilt, so they could fight longer, harder, smarter. If you're training for durability and capability, recovery isn't weakness, it's weaponry. Here's the bottom line. After 40, your margin of error shrinks. You cannot out-train poor sleep. You cannot out-supplement weak tendons. You cannot out-grind poor recovery. But you can build a system that keeps you durable, adaptable, and capable for decades. So prioritize 7 to 9 hours of sleep like it's your biggest training block. Respect tendon health through isometrics, eccentrics, and progressive loading. Use active recovery, mobility, and nutrition to accelerate healing. And kill the ego-driven nonsense that more is better. More isn't better. Better is better. Train hard, yes. Built, but recover harder. That's how you're going to avoid being the 45-year-old who used to lift to the 50-year-old who used to run. Drop a comment below. What's your biggest struggle here? Sleep, tendon pain, recovery discipline? Because this is Forge Grit, and here's the truth. Strength without recovery is a short story, but strength with recovery is a legacy.